In the business world, there's a concept that we call spectrum of expectations. The client, the workforce, and business owners have expectations. We call this the spectrum of expectations. Great leaders understand this spectrum and they rise to that occasion to master these spectrums. Today, my vision is to provide you with this body of knowledge and trust that you would be inspired and motivated to want to rise to that occasion to master the concepts that we're going to be introducing to you today. So, Jade, I can see you on the platform. I want to welcome you. And today we are broadcasting across multiple platforms and social media platforms. So I want to say hello to persons across the world who are tuning into today's program. I promise you it's going to be a very interesting program because you need to understand the spectrum of expectations when you want to grow and scale your business and make impact. Today we will do that deep dive. But just before I get started, I want to say that I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. I also want to say that before the end of this program, we will be sharing with you some very unique giveaways. So I want you to settle in, stay tuned, because you can benefit from these programs once you're in business and you see yourself as a rising star or perhaps someone who has already attained a high level of success in business. We do believe that there's always room for growth and expansion. So let's dive into today's program. Today we will cover a number of important issues on the topic spectrum of expectations. We will look at the definition of corporate leaders' expectations. We will look at the definition of client consumer expectations, and we will look at definitions of the workforce expectations. And I want to show you it's important to really take the time to understand this spectrum of expectations. The very first concept that I want us to start to dive into is definition of expectations. And let's begin by looking at the corporate leaders' expectations. Getting into business, you are getting into business with expectations. And one of the expectations, known or unknown to corporate leaders, is to build healthy relationship with the MVTM, which we call the minimum viable target market or the most viable target market. We will talk about this in the brief shortly. You have other expectations. You want positive client feedback. You want client referrals. You want client and customer loyalty. And definitely another expectation is to increase the business growth and profitability. And I do believe that these are reasonable expectations for any rising stars in business or successful person in business to have. In fact, if you remove these things from the whole ecosystem of business, perhaps that business will go down because you don't have strong expectations. But let's dig into this a little bit more. Building healthy relations with the minimum viable target market or the most viable target market. This expectation has to be balanced from the perspective that that target market that you're looking at exists in the first place. The target market is accessible and the target market has the ability and willingness to pay for your products and services. It's not enough to say that you have products and services for the market. It's not enough to have these expectations. These expectations must be synchronized with the realities on the ground. And some of those realities is your expectations. You want to be certain that it's realistic expectation, and you're able to predetermine all of this based on the fact that you're able to identify whether or not the market exists. You will be able to identify if there's easy access to that market, and you need to also put yourself in that position of strength where you're able to identify the ability of the ideal client to pay and the willingness of the ideal client to pay. If all of these things are not carefully looked at, believe me, it can undermine your expectations. So, to ensure that your expectations are real and realistic, these are important concepts that you need to look at, because we are doing this largely because we are seeing so many rising stars are getting into business today. You have these great expectations, but the expectations are not research based. The expectation is based on an assumption and a speculation that these are things that you're going to be able to achieve. You're going to be able to reach a target market. You're going to be able to impact that target market. You're going to be able to optimize client conversion and significantly increase the business cash flow. And all of that may be practically impossible, but you don't know that because you don't have critical market information. And I'm happy to say to you also that all this information that we're discussing today, this content is taken directly from the book, Master the Sales Communication Process. You need to get your copy very soon. I'll tell you how to do so. You need to join our master classes so you will be one step ahead of how business can be applied to your advantage. Today, we're looking at spectrums of expectations. So far, we're looking at the expectations of entrepreneurs, rising stars in business. Of course, one of your expectations as an entrepreneur, rising stars in business, you want to get feedback from your client. You want to get feedback from your client because this is the only way you are able to put yourself in that position of strength to at least assess if your value offer, if your minimum viable offer is delivering to the expectation of your minimum viable target market. You want feedback. In the absence of feedback, you do not have the kind of information that is necessary to continue helping you to drive your efforts to optimize the level of success. So getting feedback is a reasonable expectations that rising stars in business should have. Now, it is also reasonable to want to have feedback, all right, or referrals, because once you're able to introduce your value offer and your value offer is now reaching the expectations of the ideal client, you would expect them to give you referrals. So that's a reasonable expectations for you to have. The next expectation that we talk about is client customer loyalty. And as a rising star in business, you need this. All right, you need this. If you don't have a systems in place to ensure that you are able to reach these expectations of client and customer loyalty, it means that you will have to work very harder at attracting new client. If you have a high drop off of clientele base, it means that you would have to work extremely hard at building up that clientele base. And if you're having a heavy drop off of your clientele base, this is something for you to look at. All right. If you develop a strong master plan, a strong game plan, you will be able to reduce the drop off and optimize these expectations. All right. Another reasonable expectation that we believe that business owners have is increased business growth and profitability. These are reasonable expectations for business owners to have. All right. They're reasonable expectations for business owners to have. But, very often what we see is an error in the whole process of expectations. Many young rising stars in business, you get into business with the key focus of fulfilling your expectations, not recognizing that your expectations should be balanced and tapered to the expectations of all the other factors that we talk about. The client has expectations, and your team has expectations. The workforce, they have expectations. And if you're not focusing on these expectations, it can undermine all the expectations that we have just talked about, which are reasonable for you to have as an entrepreneur. So, what I want us to do is to do a deep dive now into the next spectrum of expectations. And let us look at the client customer expectation. What are the those expectations of the consumer, of your client. You're in business and you want to ensure that you are an informed player. You want to be certain that you're market oriented and you're market sensitive. And to be market oriented and sensitive, it means that you understand these expectations of your ideal client. And what are some of those expectations of your ideal client? The research is showing that your ideal client, they have expectations. For example, everyone that is going to be purchasing from you, they expect quality products. Is that unreasonable for your consumer to want quality products? It's certainly not unreasonable. It is your ability to deliver quality product consistently above and beyond the expectations of the ideal client. It is what's going to enable you to achieve your expectations. So these are not unreasonable expectations for the consumers to have. We will go a little deeper into this. The consumer also expect quality services. They expect quality services. But I want you to pause a little bit and ask yourself this question because I'm going a little deeper here. In your attempt to deliver quality products, in your attempt to deliver quality services, what are the essential outcomes or deeper expectations that your consumer may have? I want to emphasize this. There's no one that I'm aware of that are invested in products and services and they want reduction in quality as against enhancement in the quality of products and services that they're receiving. Every one of your consumers, they are not invested in you to reduce their experiences. They want to enhance the quality of experience that they're getting from your purchase. And let's go a little deeper into this. Your consumers, they're also making a purchase because they want to enhance their quality of life. How much aware are you of this on the spectrum of expectations? And again, it is your awareness of this that is going to enable you to win in business. Let's go a little deeper into this. Enhance their quality of life. What exactly do I mean by this? You have a restaurant and people are buying from your restaurant. Are they buying because they want to reduce their quality of life or do they want to enhance their quality of life? Whether expressed or non-expressed, they're making that purchase because they expect that the food will be properly prepared and it will not take away from their quality of life, but it will add to their quality of life. So it's important for you to understand these expectations and ensure that you are taking practical steps to ensure that you are reaching these expectations. Again, it is your ability to reach these expectations that will set that stage to ensure that you achieve your expectations, which is about business growth and cash flow optimization, which is all of these expectations that you have, client referrals. The moment you pause a little bit and recognize that the consumer have serious expectations and you rise to that occasion to be able to deliver above and beyond the expectations of the ideal client, you're going to be able to win. Let's go a little deeper into this. You own a gym. Do you think that most people that are coming to gym, they're coming to gym because of an unusual lifestyle? They're coming to gym because they want to reduce the quality of their physicality, reduce the quality of their physical health, or they want to enhance the quality of their health. They're coming because they have expectations. They want to enhance their physical appearance. They want to be more healthier, more agile. Exercise leads to mental alertness, mental strength. It leads to all of this. So these are the expectations that they're going to come to your gym for. Are you sensitive to this? Are you oriented to these facts? They're going to come to your place of business because they have expectations. And the more aware and sensitive you are about this, And the more you are prepared to deliver to their expectation and above and beyond their expectation, it will position you to win. When your client comes to you and they are interested in investing in a piece of real estate, do you think that they are looking to reduce their experience or the quality of life that they're accustomed to by buying your real estate, or are they looking for ways to increase the quality of life that they are accustomed to? They want an increase. And these are reasonable expectations for anyone to have. And this is a subject, the spectrum of expectations, that you want to learn it, you want to apply it, and you want to master it. It is by understanding these expectations, you set yourself up to win in business. This is called being market oriented and being market sensitive. Another expectations that your consumer may have, they have expectations of prolonged quality of life. Is that an unreasonable expectations for people to have? Those who might be in the medical field, when your client comes to you for an annual checkup, the reason that they're doing that annual checkup is because they want to identify if there's any physical abnormalities, emotional issues, or mental issues. They want to figure out these things long before it happened. Why? Because they have expectations. Their expectation is prolonged quality of life. Do you think that they're going to be invested monies in you simply because they have the monies to invest? They have expectations. And as a rising star in business, as an entrepreneur, the more you take the time to understand these spectrums of expectations and ensure that you build the capacity, if you don't have the capacity, to live up to the ideal client dreams, hopes, and aspirations, once you're able to rise to this occasion, it sets the stage for you to win. There's another level of expectation that I'm going to talk about as relates to the client. The client or two, they have expectations for joy and happiness and excitement. Why not? You have a recreational park, you have a theater, you have a duplicate of Disneyland or Disneyland itself. You're now getting into the boat cruise business. Do you think that people are going to be participating in all of these different types of business activities because they have monies to give away? They have expectations. They have expectations for joy, happiness, and excitement. So your recreational park, your theater, your Disneyland, your boat cruise must be built out in such a way to appeal to the target market interest, to appeal to their psychographics, to appeal to their expectations. And it is your ability to do this that will really give you that competitive advantage to win. All right? It will give you that competitive advantage to win in business. Again, everything that we are discussing here today, it is taken from the new book, Master the Sales Communication Process. And this is a beautiful book. There's so much for you to learn from this book. So again, if you find this content of information interesting, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. I want to encourage you to press the bell so you will be the first to be notified when these programs are being hosted. There's another area of expectations, and it is very, very important for us to look at this. We call it the workforce expectations. And very often, what we see, entrepreneurs become comfortable, excited about driving the business success, optimizing client impact, enhancing brand visibility, reach, and impact client conversion. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. But what happens very often, sometimes as leaders in business, we forget that the workforce too has expectations. And as a leader in business, as a rising star in business, you want to always put yourself in that position of strength where you're able to apply the concept that we call proactive leadership. Now, the proactive leaders, they're the people that are able to think ahead. They're the people that are able to see beyond problems. They're the people that are able to take informed action to achieve a desired outcome. And you want to apply this throughout the entire business ecosystem. The workforce too has expectations. And I'm saying this against the backdrop because we have seen that now that we are emerging out of the global pandemic, we have seen it. There are many rising stars in business. There are many, you know, instrumental players in global commerce and trade that did not think ahead of a pandemic, particularly so when it comes to living up to the expectations of the workforce. Now, we are focusing on this because if you divorce yourself from focusing from the expectation of the workforce, by default, you're setting the business up to fail, a slow or fast death. So these are important concepts for you to think about. What are the expectations of the workforce? Your workforce wants a livable wage. And having a livable wage may different from workforce to workforce, from your team players to team player, but they have these expectations. Is it unreasonable for your workforce to have expectations of earning a livable wage? I don't think it's unreasonable. We'll talk a little bit more about this. What is another expectation of the workforce? They want a healthy work environment. Is this an unreasonable expectation? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm saying that they have many businesses that are doing this, and kudos to you for doing the right thing. But what we're going through here is a list of expectations, a spectrum of expectations that you should understand. And if you want to win in business, it's important for you to take these expectations that we're discussing today, the spectrum of expectation, with the highest degree of seriousness. Your workforce have other expectations. Job security. With the pandemic, millions of the workforce who thought that they had work job security, they recognized that that was a fallacy. The pandemic came and millions of the workforce were sent off. They were sent off. They too have expectations, and job security is one of those expectations. So I want to give some pointers here because we really had to, I mean, we ourselves, we didn't fully prepare for this, but because of our innovative approach in doing business, we were able to connect with the right sources. We were able to innovate some very unique systems that we're going to now share with you that perhaps, should something like this happen in the future, you're better prepared to handle this. So there's a concept that we call the CCFP, which is the corporate cash flow protection. Now, the corporate cash flow protection is different from the PPP program that was introduced in the United States of America. The CCFP program, referred to as the Corporate Cash Flow Protection Program, it's a very unique platform where in harvest time, you are very innovative and creative in terms of how you leverage the business excess liquidity. So when the storm comes, if it do comes, the business is anchored, the business is solid, the business is protected financially. So it's important to perhaps have these think tankers on your side that can perhaps help you develop these innovative approaches. From our standpoint, I can simply say you should have someone that understands private equity investment. You should have someone that is truly grounded in financial leadership that can really help you to develop practical steps as it relates to your CCFP program, cash flow protection program. It will help to give you the cushion that you need in times of crisis. So the healthy relationship that you have with your workforce don't have to be fractured by you laying them off, because the business cash flow is secure, because you're not only now dependent on the primary sources of income, you have already identified secondary sources of income. These are things where we'll get deeper into it over a period of time. So this too can be added to corporate leaders' expectations to have that corporate cash flow protection to ensure that they're giving the staff a high level of job security. Now, in the absence of all of this, what happens? You think the average member of your staff leave the job because they just want to leave the job? Yes, in some cases this happen, but they're looking for security. They're looking for safety. They're looking for an environment where it's healthy. They're looking for an environment where they feel as though they perfectly blend in and they are part of it, and the environment wants them and is there for them. They too have expectations. We also talk about the concept, the corporate paycheck protection program. And we talk about the personal paycheck protection, another PPP initiative. But guess what else? And I always say this, and I gotta smile. Because as we interface with business leaders across the world, from the time we start to talk about this, sometimes they see big figures. And I'm saying to you that we can help you implement these systems, and it don't have to cost you an arm and a leg. In fact, it don't have to cost you anything. The objective behind these introduction is not to take money from you, to show you how to increase the business cash flow by leveraging your excess liquidity in a smart way that you can smile. Because you don't have to go into the profit margin in terms of a crisis to maintain your workforce. You have other smart income source that is already catering to that unforeseen circumstances that may arise. You see, in project management, we were taught something, we were taught about things that can go wrong that you can predict, and things that can go wrong that you cannot predict. But we talk about the concept configuration management, and that's how to adjust the entire ecosystem so as to ensure that the project integrity is maintained, the business integrity is maintained, the relationship between managers and employees is maintained. There are tools, and we are happy to share those tools with you. I'm also happy to say it's in my new book, Master the Sales Communication Process. And this book has been written by three outstanding personality, and I call myself an outstanding personality too. Um, Jed Thompson, Aldur Thompson, and myself, they have committed tremendous time into developing this book. There's so much of information in this book. You're going to learn about financial markets. You're going to learn about how to access, business credit at 0% APR for about 18 months. And when that period, expired, how to restart that process. There's so much of information in this book to help you to win in business, like a superstar. Let's come back to topic. Your workforce, they have expectations. They want to grow. They want to self-actualize. They want to ensure that they are experiencing personal growth. They want to know that they're experiencing professional growth. They want to know that they're experiencing interpersonal growth. Are these unreasonable expectations for them to have? I don't believe so. So today we look at the spectrum of expectations. And what we looked at is the expectation of the entrepreneur, corporate leaders. We look at expectations of your target market, and we look at the expectation of your workforce. Now, if you take any of these equations, spectrum of expectation, out of the equation of business, your business is going to struggle. By default, it will struggle. When you have a demotivated workforce, what happens? You have absenteeism and staff turnover. You have underproductivity. You have, a lagging profit margin. But when they're highly motivated, They come with a level of energy and commitment to drive your business success forward. Now, I want to talk very briefly about how this entire ecosystem is applied. It's important to take the time to truly understand targeted performance outcome. Targeted performance outcome. So this is you knowing the outcome that you want for business. That's setting your target. But it's important for you to also recognize that for you to impact your workforce and to impact the ideal client, you need information. You need information. You cannot satisfy the workforce expectation based on speculations. You cannot satisfy the ideal client expectations based on speculations. You need information. There are different type of demographics, and based on their lifestyle and culture and social class groups and reference groups, they will have different types of expectations. So although we talk about expectations, some of the systems that I have just proposed may not be applicable across the spectrum. And that's why you need information. You need to understand psychographics and the role that psychographics plays in helping you to build healthy, productive relationship with the workforce. You need to understand psychographics and how psychographic play an important role in helping you to build a healthy relationship with your ideal clients. It is by understanding this, it's the understanding that will help you to apply yourself more effectively at this. You just don't wake up and apply yourself, apply a system without ensuring that one, you have clear targets. Two, there's a strong game plan, but that game plan is truly aligned to the expectations of the ideal or critical stakeholder. This body of knowledge is absolutely necessary. So I trust you would have enjoyed today's program. Now, once you would have been able to take these approaches that we are talking about, the next step that you want to do is to systemize the business process. This entire effort to understand expectations and how you build a game plan to satisfy these expectations, you want it to be systemized. And systemization is so important. We are not above systemization at Pitch Deck 101 LLC and Global Capital Inc. and 10X B&M LLC out of New York. We are systemized, and we continue to invest every day into that systemization process. And by systemization, what do I mean? You want to establish traceability, transparency, accountability, know where there is scalability and transferability of data. This book that is shown right behind you, Master the Sales Communication Process, this is one way that we're using to systemize our entire training process. So there is standard, consistency, transparency. If we need to scale and upgrade the process, we know exactly what steps to take to do it. The same principle applies when you want to understand the spectrum of expectation and ensure that you have a proper working system that is well structured and designed to live up to the expectation across the spectrum of expectations. We talk about systemization. Now, what are the other benefits of this? You're able to accelerate the business growth because it is systemized. You know what is working, you know what is not working and what to eliminate. You know how to repeat the process of what is working with the highest degree of accuracy and with speed that helps the business process to move even further. So if you know your ideal client and you know what is going to keep them motivated to become consumers, to continue to refer others to your business, to be loyal customer, you have this body of knowledge. You don't have to experiment with your value offer, you can now go bravely and implement your value offer because you know they are likely to respond in this way. Market information, the opposite buyer data marker that we talk about. It's very helpful in helping you to capture data, analyze data, and leverage data to the advantage of your business. And this too has to be applied to the spectrum of expectations. There are other benefits in applying these systems. You're able to nurture a highly motivated workforce. What can be more important to a rising star, to even you who are successful in business, to have a highly motivated workforce? A highly motivated workforce is going to show up on time consistently. A highly motivated workforce is going to work over time to move the business forward. A highly motivated workforce is going to give you increased productivity. A highly motivated workforce is going to give you increased cash flow. All of these things are benefits by applying these systems that we're talking about. They're documented in this new book, Master the Sales Communication Process. You will also be able to nurture a highly motivated client and customer base. Why are you going to be placed in that position to have a highly motivated client and customer base? You will have this because the fact that you take the time to understand their expectations. And it's because you understand their expectations and you're deliberate in innovating products and services to reach those expectations, you're now able to make them happy, make them satisfied customers. So they're highly motivated to keep investing with your brand. They're highly motivated to refer your brand to others. All right. They're actively involved in helping to move your vision and your business forward. So these are the benefits of what we talk about here. Spectrum of expectations. All right. The workforce are going to be driving behind you. The consumers are going to be loyal to you. What else can happen here? By simply applying these simple techniques that we're talking about, you're now able to also 10x your business cash flow. 10x your business cash flow. Now think about this. Every rising star in business, every entrepreneur, you have an advertising budget. So regardless of if the staff helped you to promote your brand or the consumer helped you to promote your brand, you have an advertising budget. And let's say that advertising budget is working for you. But now you have enlisted the support of your team dynamics, your workforce, because they're satisfied. You know their expectations because you look at their spectrum of expectations and you build a game plan to ensure that you're reaching those expectations and you're possibly going above those expectations. So they are highly motivated now to perform for the organization. What happens there? Their high level of motivation is translating into increased productivity. It's translating into increased sale. It's translating into increased profitability for the operation. So all of this can help to push the business cash flow much further. Let's think about the next one. When you ensure that you understand the expectation of your consumers, what's happening here? You understand the expectation of your consumer because you look at their spectrum of expectations and you build your business ecosystem to live up to those expectations. What happens here? They are satisfied consumers. They are highly motivated consumers. So they are not one-time buyers. They are repeat buyers. They are excited now about referring their family and friends and loved ones to come shop at your place because you understand their expectations, you living up to their expectations, you're exceeding their expectations, and they're going to advance your business strategic objective. So understanding the spectrum of expectation, it has so much of advantage. Now, I've only scratched the surface with the level of information that I've just discussed here with you. when you get the book and when you are exposed to our master classes, you will learn so much more about the spectrum of expectations and the role that this can play to drive your business visibility, drive your business reach, drive your business impact, optimize client conversion, and significantly move that business to cash flow maximize. You will have all of that information. So I trust you would have enjoyed today's program. I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you press the bell, put it on always, so you will be the first to get these content of information that we are bringing to you on a regular basis. Again, this program came to you with a kind compliment of Pitch Deck 101 LLC out of New York, and Global Capital Inc. and 10X B&M LLC also out of New York. Now, I have some exciting news as I promised. We are on this mission to provide rising stars in business and those who have been in business for some time, but you want to achieve more. We are creating an environment that you can be a part of and get the support of that environment. So if you look right behind me on the left, at the top of the screen, you're seeing Public Speakers and Influencers Incubator. We have formed this incubator, and the ultimate vision behind this incubator is to provide you with the tools to become competent speakers, to provide you with the tools to become effective influencers. So in this incubator, you will learn things like the 8 steps to communication masteries. You will learn things about the 6 steps to storytelling masteries. And you will learn so much more that is going to play a pivotal role in enhancing your speaking, your communication, your influencing skill. And of course, if you're in business, or if you're in sales and marketing and public relation, you need to understand these skill sets that we're talking about. You need to understand them. It's going to add tremendous value to enhancing your personal skills, your professional skills, to be more effective in commanding your knowledge and skill sets to help you to achieve more in your line of business. I want to encourage you to join it. It's free for now. The cost to join is about $5,000 US. But for now, we are sponsoring you. Global Capital Inc., Pitch Deck 101 LLC, and 10X B&M LLC out of New York. We're going to sponsor you for this program, but you need to act fast. And I'm going to tell you what you need to do shortly to get into this program. You don't want to miss out on it. Millions of people struggle with public speaking. I had my share of that many years ago. Now I talk so much, my wife say, hey, you talk too much. Stop. Okay. Now, but you need to have these skills and to be mastered that ability to leverage this across spectrum. You can speak effectively in the boardroom. You can speak effectively on stage. You can speak effectively in your social circle. You want to be able to own and master these skill sets. And we have set this ecosystem up in such a way to give you that support. You want to speak well in sales. There's so much of techniques in sales. Do you know how to use the pull factors of sales, the push factors of sales? Do you understand the influencer model? There's so much that you will learn in this platform. So I want to encourage you to take action now. Get registered. I'll tell you how to get registered shortly. The next giveaway that I want to encourage you to do is to register to become a member of the Sales Communication Professional Incubator. This is another incubator. This one is specifically for sales communication professionals or rising stars in the sales communication professional environment. We have done this because of the fact that we have seen that across the world, when you're introduced to sale, you're basically trained to do hard sale. You're trained to do the push sale. And in most cases, as a push sale expert, if I can call you that, you still do not understand your target market. You're selling to people and you're getting sales based on impulse buying. You're not getting sales based on a clear understanding of who you're selling to. And we believe that even when you're using the push factors of sale, if you understand your target market needs, wants, and expectation, dreams, hopes, and aspirations, psychographics, you're in a much better position to achieve that sale. Because sales is not about your ego. Sales is largely about you committing the time, talent, and resources to understand people, their needs and wants and expectation, and ensure that you build a value proposition, a value offer that lives up to their expectations. Now, it's not all about your expectations. Once you're able to understand people, their needs, and you build your value offer to reach and exceed those expectations, you will win in the sales process. So that's a technique. The sales communication professional incubator will give you so much of tools and techniques. So you know how to command attention, how to pique interest, how to arouse desire, how to move your client into action, how to convert a first-time users into a lifetime consumer, how to build confidence, trust, and credibility in the eyes of the public. You will learn all of these techniques, and I'm also happy to say they're in that book, Master the Sales Communication Process. Many years have was committed to researching, documenting, applying, testing these techniques. We have tested these techniques across the world. Now it is in the book because we want you to win in business and in life. Hi, Priscilla. How are you? You're very faithful. I'm across multiple platforms, so I can't call everybody that is here today, but it's great to have you in the room. Such a pleasure to have you here today. So, there you have it. Today we talk about the spectrum of expectations, and we look at three of the areas of the spectrum. We look at the spectrum from three different perspectives. We look at it at the expectation of the business owner. We look at expectation of your workforce, and we also look at the expectations of your ideal client. Having this body of knowledge can position you to win. All right, it can position you to win. All right, so I trust you would have had enjoyed today's broadcast. I can see Jed. Jed, how are you? Great to have you here today. And I'm encouraging you to take action now and reach out to us. Hi, Jed. How are you?
Hi, how are you? It's a pleasure to be here today.
Awesome, awesome. All right, friends. I must say it has been a pleasure being with you today. It's a pleasure because I was able to give you a lot of information. I'm excited about the road ahead. I'm excited about working with you, connecting with you, learning more about your vision and business, and really working with you to help you to build out that strong ecosystem to achieve your business objective. Priscilla, how are you?
Um, I'm fine.
Uh,
Just to say a big thank you for the lecture or the talk. I quite agree with most of what you said, but one or two is a bit challenging, and that's one of the staff. All that you have said are things that you could use to motivate staff to stay and be with you. However, I think we must just get ready for attritions of staff because people either poach them or they move because you may put in a lot into the staff. As motivated as they are faithful to work with you. But when they have bigger opportunities, I don't think it's
That's why your
it's
vision
not
has to be
something that
big. That's why your vision has to be big. It has to be bigger than, any opportunity that can present itself. I know, yes, that might be tough. But of course, when we say reduce absenteeism and staff turnover, we are also fully aware that there are many factors that may, affect that process. I mean, we are very conscious and aware of this. You know, a staff member may have their mom and dad and brothers and sisters living overseas, and they're just waiting for their visa. So they're just marking time in whichever country they are before they migrate, and they're not going to leave the migration to perhaps stay with you if your ecosystem, if the corporate culture is not right. But what is the possibility of you being, you know, the kind of global thinker, social actor as an entrepreneur, and you have a branch in another part of the world, perhaps the migration of that, team member to another country can open doors for you to expand your business offer, your value offer to those parts of the world. So there's so much to all of this, but you made a very valid point, and I want to show you that we look at all of this. And again, as leaders, we believe that you have to position yourself to be proactive. Things will happen, but what if you're able to think through this? What if you're able to apply the tool of the proactive leader that is thinking ahead, seeing beyond problems, and taking informed action to achieve your desired results as an entrepreneur? So I just want to point that out. But I really love your observation and your comment, and it's always beautiful having you on stage. And we have to open that door of dialogue again. I know for the year we haven't talked. We have been doing a lot of talking last year. So now that we are much closer out of the pandemic, I will be opening up back, a lot of communication channel to work with rising stars like yourself, Priscilla.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. All right, there you had it for today. We'll do this again very soon. So remember, like, subscribe, and share. Press the bell so you will be the first to be notified when we open these rooms or when we go live on social media. Jed and Priscilla, everyone else who's going to be in the platform, such a pleasure to have all of you here today. And we look forward to doing this again soon. Be blessed. We see you soon.